Hang on a minute.
What? What?
Crikey, look at this.
What? What?
My goodness.
What?
It's a Burl. Now, a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, that's another tree that's chopped. Well, the land is being cleared, so this had to go anyway. It was in the way. But a nice piece. Now, as I've said, it's wet wood and it's heavy. So this thing's turning at a obtuse angle, and most of it is on the left-hand side, swinging around like a big lump. So we're going to try to get a lot more rounder than what we have here at the moment. Now you can see here there's some beautiful colouring going on with this Burl. I'm going to keep as much of this as possible. We can see here where the burl was attached to the tree. There's the pith of that branch that held this burl. Now we're coming over to the outside of the bowl. We've got some nice figure going on here too. Now this is probably about 1/8 of an inch deep. I want to keep some of this on the outside of the bowl, particularly this void that's here. That's very, very deep. That could have dictated the size of this bowl, but the size doesn't really matter on this particular one because I want to keep that void in its state. Outer bark material and some of this burl patterning I want to keep on the outside of the bowl. The bowl is going to be fairly convex once the foot has been removed, and I'm going to keep this in a state where the wood is wet, as I know, but I'm going to keep a seal on this so most of the moisture will be held into the bowl. So I'm going to keep hollowing out the inside of the bowl so the walls can be around about. I'm going for a wall thickness of around 3/8 of an inch. That means this void will be see-through, obviously, and then to stop this from, drying out in an ovalization situation, this will be the weak spot. But we're going to see how we go. Well, the inside of the bowl is coming out very nice, but there's a hell of a lot of material that's extremely unstable. The pattern is just amazing. Inside of burls, you never really know what you're going to get until you get it. This barking material is going to have to be stabilized. I was going to try and leave the bark there actually, but looking at it, once it dries out, it's going to fall apart. It's going to leave that void as it is. I'm going to keep going. It's rough going, I can tell you. It's just crumbling off. It's not actually shavings. There are some shavings in there. The Ellsworth ground tool is sharp as it can possibly be. And I keep sharpening it every 2 or 3 times. This stuff is kind of blunting that. There's no grain structure, obviously. This is what burls are all about. Anyway, we'll keep going. Now I'm wearing a glove. Against my better knowledge, it's not a safety situation. It's the actual material that's coming off at high speed. It's really abrasive to the skin. Not that I'm really concerned about it at my age, but at this stage you've really got to keep that stuff off. It's quite rough. Onwards. Yeah, we got some real punky wood going on down here. Extremely so. In fact, I think that probably would go right through to the other side, so I'm really going to stabilise that with CA glue just in a moment. Still probably another 1.5 inches from the bottom. Certainly not going to take the walls any thinner. There's still some marks on the bottom here, and it's uneven on the bottom, so going to keep going with this a little bit. Then I'll get some CA glue into stabilising some of these voids. Now I've sanded this down to 320 grit after applying the CA glue on some of these voids here. What I'm going to try here, because this wood is still wet, it hasn't dried, it will definitely overlise. I'm not got any doubt about that, but I'm going to seal in as much of the moisture as I can into the wood to prevent it from overlising too much and cracking, of course. But I'm not sure. I mean, certainly this pith that was from the branch, that could end up cracking. I've taken a chunk out of that and left it as it is. Going to leave it that as a feature. And yeah, certainly structure of it has come out quite nice. So I'm going to apply the 750 Clean Armour tabletop sealer, the stuff that seems to be used quite a lot now in my projects, only because it's really instantaneous. I'm going to apply this for the first time with a brush. Haven't tried this before. I've usually wiped it on with a rag, but it does say that you can apply this with a brush as well, so I'm just going to brush it on, not too liberally, because this does leave the kind of marks you don't want to have left with brush. I've also fixed the hairs in this brush. It's a very cheap throwaway brush. I usually use it for resin applications, and CA glue holds that fast, so make sure you put that in. You don't want any hairs on your work or your job. And when I come to these voids, I'm going to fill it right up with this stuff, and since its curing time is almost instant from the UV light, I should be able to see the result in a few seconds. Okay, going to give it a blast of the UV light to set it off. Amazing stuff. It's to the touch, completely dry in about a minute and a half. So it does say instructions you now can put on top of that either a gloss or a semi-matte. I'm going to go for a matte this time. So actually decided to go with a gloss, so we'll see how this works out. Again, applying with the same brush that I used for the sealer. You can actually mix these products together. The sealer, matte. I haven't done that. I don't think I'll try it either, but just applying fairly thinly with the brush. Another project off the assembly line, as they say. So this is a bit unusual, as this Burl was found in the forest, actually on some new property that we've just purchased. There are a few Burls on that property, so I'll be turning some more as we go, but this is the first time I've actually turned a wet Burl. Here she is, the actual pattern of the Burl. I believe it's a maple Burl actually, a white maple, and you can see at the bottom here there's a badge, and around the sides here I'll get in very close so you can see it has got that gloss, 50 gloss clear armour. It's come up nice, and I've left the voids here on the side, give it a bit of character, and on the inside of course it's come out really good. Try and get the angles straight so you can't see the glare of the light. I appreciate you all watching my channel, and of course another one's coming up next week, so cheers guys.